Hello, everyone. My name is Karen MUNRO. I am ACRL Vice President, and I am very pleased to welcome you to the ACRL 2019-2020 Leadership Class. Before we get started, I want to thank you so much for volunteering your time and your expertise to ACRL. We all truly appreciate the commitment that our member volunteers make. We could not accomplish what we do without everyone's participation. And I am looking forward to working with you very much in this next year. So based on feedback from previous years, we're continuing with this flipped classroom approach for the virtual leader orientation. We hope this gives you the opportunity to watch the orientation in advance and then gives us more time to address specific questions during the live session on May 22nd. You'll have a chance to evaluate this format after we do that face-to-face session, and we look forward to your feedback. So throughout this presentation, you'll find that we're referencing useful websites. There will be a link in the companion document. It's been shared with you, and it will also be posted in the description of the recording. At the live meeting on the 22nd, ACRL staff and board leadership will be on hand to answer questions and to offer highlights and updates. If you can't make it to that session, the staff and the leadership are always happy to take questions by phone or email. We want you to have the tools that you need to succeed in this next year. So what do we want to do today? Our outcomes that we'd like to accomplish today are, first, we want to give you a better understanding of ACRL as an association and as a division of ALA, so that you have a better understanding of how we all work together. We want you to understand expectations for you as part of the leadership class. And we want you to know how to get things done in ACRL. The session's going to focus on a lot of the nitty-gritty of working with ACRL, but I also want to just take a moment to say how rewarding it's been to be in a leadership position with the association for me in the last year. I've been vice president for this past year. I've had the opportunity to learn a lot about ACRL and to work on issues that I think are important to our profession overall. I also have a renewed appreciation for other ACRL members and member leaders like yourselves. This is a large and ambitious association. It accomplishes an amazing amount, and it does that thanks to the contributions of the staff and the members, everyone who's so dedicated to the work we're doing. I'll say more about that in a minute. But for now, I just want to say I'm looking forward to working with you all as ACRL president in the coming year. So, leadership class, what does that mean? So you are part of ACRL's leadership team. That means that we're counting on you to help ACRL advance its strategic plan, which is called the Plan for Excellence. And we share your work in the ACRL annual report, which is published each December in CNRL News. We also count on you to help create an inclusive community within ACRL. We want you to be engaged in a productive and healthy and enjoyable way. And we need you to be the kind of leader who makes all the member volunteers that you work with feel the same. We'll make a great team together. We know each of you will contribute to ACRL's success. We do our work throughout the year. We've traditionally met face-to-face 2 times per year at the Leadership Council, which takes place on Friday afternoon during the ALA Midwinter Meeting and Annual Conference. This is preceded by a fun reception where you can chat informally with other ACRL leaders and colleagues. However, the last ALA Midwinter Meeting, you may be aware already, is planned for 2020. And following that, we should see a rebranded event which we expect will replace Midwinter. ACRL board is currently working to see if the reimagined conference is a productive place for us to continue to engage as academic librarians. And we will keep you all up to date on what we learn and what we discuss. So let's turn to taking a quick look at ACRL's structure. Okay, so each and every ACRL leader is important to the profession and the association. You have an important role in helping ACRL advance the strategic plan, the Plan for Excellence that we just mentioned. Moreover, you are essential in recruiting and fostering other emerging leaders who will be the leaders for our future. The ACRL Board of Directors, which you can see there on the slide, has general oversight and direction of the affairs of the association. It conducts all of the business pertaining to the association, and it has the authority to make decisions and speak on behalf of the association. And then you'll see in the blue there, division level committees. These are committees charged by the board to accomplish specific association business, to advise the board, or to advance the association's strategic goals. So again, goals from the Plan for Excellence. The vice president and president-elect appoints member volunteers to serve on these committees. So that is an activity that I've been engaged in for the last month or so. You'll also see that we have 3 other boxes on this slide. These are ACRL communities of practice, which includes sections, interest groups, and discussion groups. They offer specialized ways for members to be engaged according to their discipline, their domain, their work interest. You might be familiar with these as it's often one of the first ways that members get involved in ACRL. Communities of practice are approved by the board, and they have significant autonomy in determining their own goals and how to best accomplish them. Section vice chairs appoint member volunteers to serve on their committees, just the same way that the vice chair for ACRL appoints volunteers to serve on the division level committees. So now moving back to the ACRL Plan for Excellence, which has been mentioned already a couple of times. I want to say I've been very pleased and interested, and I've really enjoyed working with an association that is as strategic minded as ACRL. I hope that you will all find some satisfaction in participating in some way in the elements of the strategic plan. You can see from the slide that ACRL has 4 strategic goals, and that's actually expanded a little bit, so we'll discuss that. But the 4 strategic goal areas are the value of academic libraries, student learning, research and scholarly environment, and new roles in changing landscapes. ACRL also now has a core commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. I'll talk more about that in the next slides. So as the Higher Education Association for Librarians, we lead academic and research libraries and librarians in advancing learning and transforming scholarship by focusing on these strategic goal areas. We do it by having specific objectives and carefully measuring and monitoring our progress. If you haven't done so before, I really encourage you to take a look at the Plan for Excellence on the ACRL website and review it with your committee or your team. The URL to the plan is included in the handout that was sent with this presentation recording. So take a look at ACRL's core purpose. This is a commonality that keeps our leadership team focused and connected and engaged. So you may also know that we have enabling programs and services, which are up on the top on the slide. These are things like budget and finance and professional development, publications, membership, and other operational support. In tandem with the committees and communities of practice, these keep the association responsive to the needs of academic and research librarians. So we are very eager to have your ideas and your leadership in developing webinars or discussion forums, publications, or any other resources that meet the needs of the community. So later on a bit in this presentation, you will learn how you can share your work with the board of directors. I mentioned this in our last slide. I'm just going to turn back to the core commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. I am very happy to share that the ACRL board approved in fall of 2018 this new core commitment and added it to the ACRL Plan for Excellence. The goal of the core commitment is for equity, diversity, and inclusion to permeate all areas of the association so that we are poised to offer the best support for equitable, inclusive, and diverse librarianship. When the board approved that commitment, revisions were also made to all of the 4 goal areas in the Plan for Excellence to incorporate EDI in their work. Other governance changes to support EDI have included renaming the Diversity Committee to the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee and updating the charge of the Budget and Finance Committee. Staying a little bit more on this same theme, one program that ACRL has recently developed to support EDI is the ACRL Diversity Alliance. The Diversity Alliance's goal is to increase the hiring pipeline of qualified and talented individuals from underrepresented racial and ethnic groups. Since its inception in 2017, The ACRL Diversity Alliance has provided a network for member institutions that commit to at least a 2-year diversity residency at their libraries. There are currently over 40 members of the Diversity Alliance. Institutional members, I should point out. Those are associations, not individuals. Those are university libraries. ACRL is looking to grow the program even further and to offer more benefits as it dedicates more resources to support the new core commitment. So on the next slide, I will share some of the updates that we have already implemented with the goal to make the appointment process more transparent and inclusive. So as ACRL President-elect, I mentioned I have been working for the last month or so on making lots of committee appointments. I've been working with the Appointments Committee to complete the 2019-2020 division level committee appointments. At the same time as the committee appointments, sections are also completing their appointments. Interest and discussion groups follow a separate process. More on the appointments process for your group will be shared a little bit later on. This year, I worked with a board working group to review and make the appointments process more inclusive and transparent. Appointments marketing was updated to include more welcoming language on the ACRL volunteer form, webpage, and on social media. Members who volunteered for a committee or section appointment had the option to answer several demographic questions, and ACRL has compiled that data. My goal is to share a summary report when the majority of appointments have been completed a little later in this spring. ACRL will continue to include these optional demographic questions so that we can better understand and work to make the appointments process more inclusive. What else is happening with EDI and ACRL is quite a bit. So in addition to appointments, which we talked about, and the Diversity Alliance, the board and ACRL staff are updating a lot of other work that ACRL does to better create more welcoming and inclusive environments. This includes EDI training for presenters, governance groups, and staff. ACRL President Lauren Presley, her President's Program Committee, has focused their work on the topic of EDI this year and has created an excellent online EDI discussion series blog, which is now available on the ACRL LibGuide platform. In addition to that, her planning committee also hosted a very well-attended session at the most recent midwinter, which was titled Climbing the Stairs to Diversity and Inclusion Success. At Annual in 2019 in DC, the next part of the EDI program series, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Leadership, Where Do We Go From Here, will be held Saturday, June 22nd. So if you'll be there, I hope you could make that program. It's going to be excellent. In my own role next year as president, I'm working with my planning committee to prepare a president's program that will carry on from this program this year and focus on an EDI topic as well at the 2020 annual conference, which will be in Chicago. The recent ACRL 29 conference theme, so this is as I'm recording this is next week's ACRL 2019 conference in Cleveland. The theme was Taking Charge of Your Narrative. And this year's conference includes keynotes, programs, and activities with an EDI focus. The Diversity Alliance also held a pre-conference called Taking Charge of Your Narrative, which sought to actively engage resident academic librarians, providing a format to focus on their career plans. I have to say I'm really pleased with the progress that's already in motion on EDI front in ACRL. I'm looking forward to the ways that ACRL and the board can continue to work on the core commitment in the future. Next up, ACRL Executive Director Mary Ellen Davis will share with you some background information about ALA and ACRL and the communication channels that are available to you.
Hello, I am Mary Ellen Davis, ACRL Executive Director, and I am also looking forward to working with you this year. I want to join Karen in thanking you for your willingness to take on this leadership role. We want to support and encourage your creativity and contributions to the profession. Now I'm going to give you some background information on ACRL and ALA. ALA is one legal entity of which ACRL is part. ACRL was the first division created in ALA in 1940, and it's still the largest division of the association. ACRL has many member groups to address your interests, as well as 44 separately incorporated chapters. Now, in the eyes of the Internal Revenue Service, ALA is a 501c3 organization, which means that they see us as a charitable, educational, nonprofit organization for the public benefit. They don't see us as a professional association. Now, what does this mean for you in your ACRL role? This status puts some limits on the amount of lobbying and political activity, and I know that politics can create some real passions. So we cannot have any political speech, no discussion supporting or opposing candidates on any ALA or ACRL resources or when you are using your ACRL title. And the 2020 campaigning has already started, so we need to be careful. We cannot organize boycotts, and a boycott would include someone calling on others to take the same action with respect to a particular company. And we can't make defamatory remarks about others. Now, these are not free speech issues. These are tax issues, and we don't want ALA to lose its tax-exempt status. If you're in doubt, feel free to contact me. Now, while we can't take positions on specific candidates, ALA and ACRL can take positions on issues. For example, last year, the White House proposed eliminating the Institute of Museum and Library Services, our IMLS, and slashed millions of dollars in federal funding for libraries. A year later, thanks to many of you for your tireless advocacy efforts, the FY19 IMLS budget has about $2 million more than it had in FY 2018. But unfortunately, the President's FY20 budget includes the proposed elimination of IMLS funding for the third time. The ALA Washington office organized Dear Appropriator letters, which were sent by ALA advocates in March 2019. Thanks to the many of you who advocated and contacted your representatives through the ALA Action Center. We expect that we will have to keep reminding Congress that libraries are essential to their communities. You can expect to hear from ALA and ACRL as we encourage you to contact your representatives. We will release action alerts and updates through ACRL communication channels, such as the ACRL Insider and social media. I also encourage you to visit the ALA Action Center website on ways to be a library advocate. Now let's look at the financial relationship between ALA and ACRL as it exists today. And I say as it exists today because the ALA Steering Committee on Organizational Effectiveness, known as SCOE, is working to develop new models for the organization that they plan to present to members at the ALA conference. And SCOE has called for the operating agreement between ALA and its divisions to be renegotiated. Your voice is important in determining the type of organization you want. Now, I mentioned the operating agreement, and very briefly, it describes the financial relationship between ALA and its divisions. Here are some key points. Division budgets must be self-sustaining. Divisions get no direct financial ACRL revenues, which include dues, registrations, sales of publications, advertising, etc., all go to cover ACRL's expenses, including all personnel costs. Divisions pay ALA overhead through an indirect cost rate on non-dues revenue. This year, it's 26.4%. For example, every dollar of your ACRL conference registration gives 26.4 cents directly to ALA to support both operational services such as IT, legal, HR, finance, and the library, and mission work such as advocacy, research, intellectual freedom, etc. And as the association begins to reconsider its financial relationship, the ACRL Budget and Finance Chair, officers, and I will keep you apprised of how this might affect ACRL and your work with us. Now let me go into a little bit more detail on the streams of change at ALA. As I mentioned, SCOE is looking at organizational effectiveness and governance. In addition to this, ALA has 5 other streams of change. It has put up its headquarters building for sale, and the ALA board has approved an investment or deficit budget. There's been a membership and communications study. There's been an assessment of IT, a goal of stronger chapter-state relationships to strengthen our advocacy, and plans to reimagine ALA's midwinter meeting into a new conference beginning in 2021. Now, SCOE, who was working on the organizational effectiveness investigation, was formed in June 2018, and ACRL board member Emily Daly represents ACRL on the steering committee. SCOE representatives shared their ideas with the ACRL Leadership Council at Midwinter 2019, and they'll also be coming to the Leadership Council this summer. They've held a webinar, and they'll be looking for additional ways to engage with the members to ensure that a reorganized ALA represents the ALA that can best work for and with you. The ACRL board will stay apprised of the work of SCOE and other groups within ALA that are working on these 6 streams of change. As more information becomes available, the board will share updates with ACRL members through ACRL communication channels and tell you how you can share your input with those leading these changes. The board welcomes any feedback or questions and invites you to reach out to us at any time. The board roster can be found in the handout included with this presentation, and contact information is available upon logging into the ALA website with your ALA credentials. Now let's look at a few policies, starting with communications. As an ACRL leader, you may be asked to comment, send a letter of support, or want your membership group to take a stand on an issue. But only the ACRL board is authorized to speak for ACRL. For example, if you get a call from a reporter, you may comment as an individual, or you can comment as a librarian with your institutional hat on, but not if you were using your ACRL title. This is reserved for the ACRL board. The board does respond promptly to requests from units to take action. This happened a couple years ago when the STS leadership and the ACRL liaison to AAAS wanted ACRL to join the March for Science. Since units of ACRL cannot speak for or make the decision to join on behalf of the entire organization, the ACRL board took a virtual vote to approve joining the march and encouraged ACRL members to attend the March for Science or satellite marches being held around the country. There's also an informal external communication, and this is important with ACRL's work in the higher ed community. This happens on many levels, through the work of individuals, sections, interest groups, ACRL officers, staff, and the External Liaisons Committee, which is formerly known as Liaisons Coordinating Committee. This External Liaisons Committee offers a liaison assembly for all members who are working with other organizations so that we can share ideas. ACRL goal area committees have developed talking points that ACRL liaisons might use when meeting with other groups. Your membership group might have issues that would be of interest to liaisons, and I know they would welcome your suggested talking points. Let's look at a few other pertinent policies. It's very easy to survey members to see what they want these days. SurveyMonkey and other free tools make it easy to do yourself. But please do not survey beyond your own immediate membership group without first checking in with the ACRL office. We want you to check in with us for a couple of reasons. We want to avoid member survey fatigue, so we'll know how many people are doing surveys and at what times. We want to avoid duplication, and we want to help you have the highest quality of your survey. We can ask for assistance from ALA's research office or other experts in research methodology to review questionnaires. Even if you're only surveying your membership group, we encourage you to notify your staff liaison for a quick review. Once your survey is approved, you can work with the staff to determine the best way to send it out. Another policy you should be aware of is that ACRL and ALA have the right of first refusal on the work that you do within your membership group. Now, ACRL is a publisher and an online learning provider. We know you have many creative ideas, and ACRL would like to be the first to consider how to publish your unit's work or to offer a webinar on the topic. When you volunteer for ACRL, you are serving on behalf of the profession, so please check with ACRL content strategist Erin Nevius to propose a topic. Now let's look at some internal communications. Some ACRL can seem like a complex organization, and we do have many committees and many communities of practice all working towards ACRL's core purpose and key goals. As an ACRL leader, you have a key role in connecting the members of your community with ACRL's big picture and helping them feel part of this wonderful, diverse, and inclusive community. Communication also helps ensure that you are not unintentionally duplicating the efforts of another ACRL unit. ACRL has a number of tools to help you communicate, which you'll hear more about later in this session. And it's a good idea to keep up with items that the ACRL board is discussing, and there'll be times when you will need to work with the ACRL board. Now, what are those times, and how do you get the board's attention and work with them? Well, I already mentioned the March for Science as one example. Here are a few more. The board approves standards and guidelines developed by committees, task forces, and communities of practice. The board also approves changes to division-level committee charges, as well as creation, renewal, dissolution of section interest groups and discussion groups. And the board approves either new awards or changes to award criteria. Recently, the instruction section requested changes to the Miriam Dudley Instruction Librarian Award. If you want the board to take an official action, then we ask that you work with your staff and board liaisons to fill out a Board of Director action form. A link to the form is included in the handout for this presentation. Currently, every ACRL unit has a staff liaison. In addition, every division-level committee and every section also has a board liaison. The staff and board liaisons are your team. If you're not sure whether or when to communicate with the board, ask your board or staff liaison, and they'll be glad to help. We announce deadlines for reports or actions via electronic discussion lists and ALA Connect. We ask that you turn in items several weeks prior to the conference so the board has time to thoughtfully review and consider your request. But the board also works virtually, so your items do not have to wait until midwinter or annual conference for action. ACRL units are most effective when there's good communication among the group, and you as leader are uniquely poised to model that good communication. So first you need to know who's in your group. How do you know that? Well, ACRL has a web-based directory of leadership to provide contact information for members of your group. And here you see the directory of leadership. Now, specific contact information is only visible to ACRL members to protect your privacy, and by logging into the website, you can view the full roster. These rosters are dynamically linked to the contact information in ALA's membership database, so please encourage your group members to keep their ALA records up to date. Though the membership year begins July 1st, now is a great time for you as a leader to review the rosters, reach out to your colleagues, and introduce yourself. ACRL also provides communication opportunities at face-to-face events. Let's take a look at the upcoming ones. I referred to the Leadership Council several times, and you are now invited because you're part of the ACRL Leadership class, and you together make up a great brain trust. We use the time at Leadership Council to get your input on professional and organizational issues. For example, that's where we develop the ideas for ACRL's strategic plan, the Plan for Excellence. And the board added a fourth goal to that plan based on your feedback at Leadership Council. We share the thinking of the board on any new initiatives or governance or structural changes. For example, if we're thinking of a bylaws change or membership changes to groups. We let you know about upcoming ALA changes or initiatives, the work of SCOE that I mentioned earlier. And we provide speakers and professional development opportunities. For example, presentations on equity, diversity, and inclusion. At this summer's Leadership Council and Membership meeting, we'll hear from SCOE about proposed new models for the association. They want your feedback, so I hope you or someone from your group will be able to attend. In keeping with ACRL's core commitment to EDI, we have also invited a strategic diversity consultant to help us learn more about how to be strong allies. Recognizing that some groups, such as IS, only meet virtually, and recognizing that travel funds are tight so that not all of you will be able to join us in DC, we will send out some materials in advance so that you can recreate these conversations within your own ACRL groups. And we encourage you to do that if you will be there face-to-face as well. This session is preceded by a community social, which is a hosted lunch and is an opportunity to meet and build your network with other ACRL leaders. I hope to see you at both the Community Social and the Leadership Council in Washington, D.C. this June. And if we haven't met yet, I hope we will meet there. And please do stop and introduce yourself. And now I'd like to turn it over to Associate Director Mary Jane Petrowski, who will review important deadlines as well as budgets and professional development opportunities.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. I'm Mary Jane Petrowski, and I look forward to meeting all of you at the next Leadership Council in Washington, D.C. During this segment, I'll review some important deadlines as well as budgets and professional development opportunities. You'll be glad to know that ACRL staff will give you abundant notice of all upcoming dates and deadlines via the ALA Community of Practice Assembly discussion list. And we've already subscribed all of the new incoming conveners to this list. As you may know, ALA has an open meeting policy, and this extends to virtual meetings as well. So if you plan to hold a virtual meeting, we ask that you give 10 days notice in ALA Connect and post the agenda and minutes as well. So with respect to minutes, we suggest you prepare what we call meeting highlights and summaries, and just focus on recording the key actions or decisions that were made, as well as your next steps, so that it's clear to everyone who is going to do what by when. The outgoing interest group conveners will be responsible for completing the Plan for Excellence Implementation Report, which will be due on July 19th. This report collects information on anything your interest group has done to advance the 4 goal areas in the strategic plan. And the board will use your reports to assess our collective progress on the ACRL Plan for Excellence, and they do read them in preparation for the strategic planning meeting this coming September. A brief review of how funding and reimbursement works. Each interest group receives funding allocations of $150, but those unused funds are not carried over to the next fiscal year. So since the ALA fiscal year ends on August 31st, we ask all reimbursement requests to be submitted by August 15th. As the interest group convener, we ask that you approve any reimbursement requests that come from your members before sending them on to your staff liaison. In addition, the ACRL annual budget includes unallocated funds for strategic initiatives. So if you do have an exciting idea for an initiative that requires more funding, your board and your staff liaison can help you shepherd your request. So we're switching from funding to fundraising. I'd like to let everyone know that we are putting together a new 2021 conference scholarship fundraising campaign, and the chair will be reaching out to all of the incoming discussion and interest group conveners to encourage your participation in the 2021 campaign. If you wish to raise funds for a named scholarship, the amount is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $740 to be confirmed. On behalf of our 14 award committees, I'd like to flag one deadline that comes up the first Friday in every December. The awards committees would really appreciate your nominations, because as leaders in the association, you are uniquely positioned to identify colleagues who are deserving of recognition. So I hope everyone will put this on their to-do list for the coming months. As you know, ACRL members can choose to affiliate with any or all of our interest groups. Currently, our communities of practice membership records show that about 29% of our members belong to interest groups, and about 71% belong to sections. So each month, ACRL staff will upload your most recent interest group membership statistics into your ALA Connect space so that you can see current as well as past membership reports. And these are generally available by the second or third week of the month. Now, every 3 years, ACRL will do a broad survey of the entire membership, and we do provide crosstabs by interest group. And speaking of membership, we invite discussion and interest group conveners to help us staff the ACRL booth at the ALA annual conference. It's a great opportunity to meet new and prospective members and to register for a free, well, to enter a free drawing to win a free registration to the next ACRL conference in Seattle. ACRL offers several types of online learning. First, we have the e-learning offerings, which focus on practical topics and issues. We offer both live webcast and multi-week online courses. Interest groups and discussion groups are all welcome to develop content for online discussion forums, the second category. And these are less formal sessions than the e-learning. So to ensure that your online education is visible to a broader audience, we asked you to complete a simple form listing details about the forum. And Margot Conahan will work with you to ensure that your content is listed and available. We currently offer Zoom and Adobe to host your virtual sessions. For online forums, you will be responsible for the logistics and the content of the event. We archive all discussion forums and make them available to members on the ACRL website. It's easy to schedule an online discussion forum. You just submit a request via the ACRL virtual meeting libcal. If you want to host an online discussion using your own virtual meeting software, that's fine, but we just ask that you notify your staff liaison of the details so that we can add your event to the webpage of all ACRL upcoming professional development events. Sponsored ACRL Choice webinars are free, and these presentations include topics such as digital publishing, research trends, and open access. Now I'm pleased to turn the podium over to Senior Program Officer Megan Griffin.
Hello, I'm ACRL Senior Program Officer Megan Griffin, and I'm serving as the staff liaison to ACRL interest groups and discussion groups. I'm very much looking forward to working with you during your term. Today, I'll be sharing information about appointments, programs, and web resources. Discussion and interest group appointments are informal and may use any method that you choose to select new leadership. Discussion group leaders may choose to remain as convener for the following year, or it may put out a call to the discussion group for new leadership. Interest group appointments follow a 3-year commitment. The first year as incoming convener, the second as a convener, and the third as past convener. Appointment terms follow the membership year, which runs July 1st through June 30th. Discussion and interest group leaders will receive an appointment acceptance form during the spring and return it to Megan Griffin to finalize the appointment. I'm so glad to be part of the ACRL Communities of Practice team and serve as the main staff liaisons to sections, interest groups, and discussion groups. While our search is underway for a new program coordinator who will serve as the staff liaison to interest groups and discussion groups and chapters, you're welcome to contact me with questions related to these types of membership units. I'm here to support you and your unit, so please do not hesitate to contact me with questions throughout the year. We use these tools for communicating information and announcements, as well as gathering feedback on important association business. We really encourage you to use these to post questions, share ideas, etc. Face-to-face options include the ACRL Leadership Council and the Leadership Council Welcome Reception, as well as meetings you schedule for ALA conferences. We encourage conveners to attend or to send a representative to these important meetings so that all leaders have the opportunity to collaborate with each other. Please note that attendance at these on-site meetings is not required at ALA conferences, but you do need to determine how your group will keep up with the broader work of ACRL and ALA if you do not attend. The ACRL board really values your input, so when possible, we'll send table activities to those units not attending the face-to-face components and ask you to participate and send in your feedback. Some email and blog options include ACRL Insider, which publishes announcements of general interest about ACRL initiatives and programs and services. It's a really good way to communicate your group's work to the broader membership. Please subscribe to ACRL Insider updates by going to the Insider website and entering your email address. ACRL Update keeps you informed about ACRL initiatives and including professional development opportunities and publications and other items of interest in the academic and higher education community. It's emailed out every 2 weeks, and you can subscribe to that by going to the website and the companion document for this presentation. ACRL Leads discussion group includes current and past ACRL leaders and once you sign in your acceptance form, you're automatically subscribed to this email list. The ACRL Leads list has association-wide updates, such as reports from the division counselor and the call for volunteers. The COPA email list, which is sc-l@lists@ala.org, includes current section and interest group leaders who are automatically subscribed. There's two purposes to the COPA list. One is a resource where you can help each other and ask questions and share ideas. And two, it's an administrative information about your leadership responsibilities will be posted there. So staff use the list to push out reminders and timeline messages. Please also be sure to check out ACRL on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Related to virtual meetings, ACRL offers a use of Adobe Connect and Zoom software, and you'll hear more about this later in the presentation. ALA Connect is the web platform where your group can work and where we post ACRL board agendas, documents, and minutes. Speaking of ALA Connect, you may know that ALA launched a new Connect in 2018. ALA Connect is where your group, your work can take place. You can participate in online discussion forums and share documents. It's a great place to store documents for future discussion and interest group conveners. Documents you want to keep in your ALA Connect space might include meeting agendas or minutes, any sort of workflow or reports that you create. Access to your group in Connect is tied to your ALA login, so you'll need to be a current member to contribute to the space in ALA Connect. Other features such as polling and collaborative workspaces are expected to be available in the coming year. To help fully roll out all the features of ALA Connect, ALA recently hired a part-time chief information officer. As new features are available, ACRL staff will keep you updated. ACRL is really pleased to offer LibGuides as a free service for our membership units, including interest groups and discussion groups. This is all in thanks to the generous support of SpringShare. We have access to LibGuides, LibCal, and LibAnswers. And LibGuides really should not replace ALA Connect, but it can be a great tool for publishing toolkits, FAQs, bibliographies, any sort of online resource. ACRL also uses LibCal to schedule virtual meetings, which my colleague Lois will go over later in the presentation. Interest group leaders get an opportunity to tell the board about all of the interest group accomplishments by submitting a Plan for Excellence implementation report. Interest group conveners are responsible for submitting their interest group's report at the end of their term as convener. This online report is a way for ACRL to track and monitor progress towards plan goals and objectives. So this report on your group's activities is an essential document for strategic-minded association. The board also realizes that many sections and interest groups provide a niche home for ACRL members, and the form will include an area for corporate units to report on important activities that might fall outside the scope of the Plan for Excellence. The deadline to submit the report comes after the annual conference, and this is to allow you to include any projects completed at the conference. As leaders, you'll get the details on completing the current year's report in the next few weeks. So new leaders that are just starting out and will be conveners next year should start thinking about how to best track your group's activities throughout the year, so you'll be in great shape to submit your report next July, right after the 2020 conference. And now I'd like to pass things over to Lois, who will tell you more about meetings.
Hi everyone, I'm Lois Sharp, ACRL Program Coordinator. I'll be sharing with you news about ACRL's virtual meeting process and face-to-face meetings at ALA conferences. The 2019 ALA Annual Conference in Washington, D.C. will be the third year that programs will be scheduled to better accommodate a smaller conference campus. As the saying goes, 3 is adjourn. ALA staff will assign a date, time slot, and room location for all programs selected for presentation. These changes have been made based upon member feedback collected by the ALA Conference Committee and have generated positive feedback in recent conference evaluations. In the world of versatility, there are many ways to serve the professional development needs of members, including articles, standards, web resources, and pre-conferences. We encourage you to take some time to reevaluate, reinvigorate, and think about your PD wishes and consider an ALA annual conference program. The Professional Development Committee oversees the annual conference program process. Although the process is competitive and not every program idea will be accepted, it is still worth putting your idea out there. Who knows, you may be selected. Think positive. Currently, ALA provides about 20 program slots to ACRL at each annual conference. You do have a chance. ACRL division level committees, sections, interest groups, and individual ACRL members can submit proposals for annual conference programs. Proposals will be evaluated in the same way using the same selection criteria. Consider making the investment and submit your proposal. 2020 program proposals are due late August 2019, and notifications will be issued in October 2019. 2021 proposals will be due in August of 2020. You may want to utilize ALA Connect to start discussing your 2020 program topic and possible collaboration with other ACRL units or individuals through a threaded discussion post. If you have additional questions, I recommend that you review Chapter 9 of the Guide to Policies and Procedures on the ACRL website, or contact ACRL Senior Program Officer, Megan Griffin. She'll be happy to answer your questions. Now, regarding the upcoming 2019-20 cycle, ALA will meet in Philadelphia for midwinter and in Chicago for annual conference. If you're interested in meeting face-to-face, ACRL staff will notify you of the process and deadlines for scheduling meetings at conference this fall. When you schedule a meeting, you also need to request your AV. That is extremely important, such as projectors, screens, and microphones. However, virtual meetings are becoming more and more popular, so this is an option you may want to consider. Please note, ACRL staff does not provide support for blended meetings at midwinter or conference. You would not use the virtual meeting lib calendar to request a blended meeting at ALA conferences. And ALA can only provide very limited support for blended meetings, which are meetings with some people in a conference room and others participating virtually. This is based on availability, connectivity, and it also depends on the conference city. You will need to request remote access AV by the deadline, which will be sent via the committee chairs or section chairs interest groups listserv. Before I move on to the next slide, let me mention this per ALA policy. Business meetings may not be held at ALA conferences. ACRL is pleased to offer the use of its virtual meeting software for its membership groups. We have at this present time 2 softwares that you can use. That is Zoom. Zoom can hold up to 999 attendees, and Adobe Connect holds up to 99 attendees. Zoom allows for voice over internet protocol and connectivity at the same time, while Adobe Connect only supports voice over internet protocol. Committee meetings, section meetings, interest groups, discussion groups, they can be held in Adobe Connect or Zoom. It depends upon what your meeting needs are. To facilitate year-round work, you may want to meet virtually in between ALA conferences, or since you're not required to have face-to-face meetings at ALA conferences, you may exclusively meet online. It's your discretion and it's your choice. Scheduling a virtual meeting is easy. And you can use the ACRL virtual meeting LibCal to request your committee meeting or practice session. Did I say easy? Yes, I did. Simply go to ACRL virtual meeting LibGuide, select your room and time, enter your meeting information, and send it off for approval. It's just that simple. Please note that a request is not finalized, however, until you receive the confirmation message from me with the meeting link. As stated previously, LibCal is not where you will make a request for blended meetings. Those are the meetings that are at midwinter or annual conference where some individuals are on site and some are off site. For specific guidelines and instructions, please visit the ACRL Virtual Meeting LibGuide. The open meetings policy applies to virtual as well as face-to-face meetings. You should publish your agenda and public notice of the meeting 2 weeks before the meeting in ALA Connect. That's important because you want to make sure that that information is up and accessible to everyone. A public record of the meeting in the form of meeting highlights must be posted within 30 days of the meeting. Please note, formal minutes are not required, but basic notes that capture actions and major points should be posted to ALA Connect following the meeting. These minutes, if it's a committee, should also be sent to Allison Payne at apayne@ala.org. If it's a section, interest group, or discussion group, those minutes should be sent to Megan Griffin at mgriffin@ala.org, and that's so that they can be archived and shared with the ACRL Board of Directors. But wait, there are other great meeting methods such as conference calls or Uber Conference. You can use any conference call service you have available or set up your own account at freeconferencecall.com. Or if you have less than 10 participants and you just need a quick committee meeting, you may want to consider Uber Conference. And that website is www.uberconference.com. Now, to facilitate meeting scheduling, you may be interested in using the free Doodle Poll service. Again, these are all options that are available to you for you to use at your discretion based upon your individual meeting needs. To help facilitate meetings, you may want to review the tip sheet provided for ALA parliamentarian Ellie Mina. A link to the tip sheet is provided in the companion document, and you will have access to these resources in ALA Connect with your incoming term, which starts on July 1st of this year, 2019. Ellie Mina, ALA parliamentarian, offers guidance and advice regarding all aspects of planning, conducting, and managing effective meetings. Additional information on this can be available at ACRL Initiative, can be found in the article, Making the Meeting, Resources for Effective Meetings by Lisa Romero in the June 2008 issue of CNRL News. Now, some of the resources accessible to all current ALA members are Building the Foundation for Effective Meetings. Everybody loves an effective meeting because people's time is precious. And this is where you can learn how to develop a clear purpose for your meeting and establish ground rules for interaction during the meeting. Then there's roles of meeting chair, how to strategically chair a meeting effectively and bring out the best in your committee members, your section members, your interest group members. And then there's avoiding chaotic, adversarial, and aimless meetings. As I said, everyone's time is precious, so you want to make sure that you're using your time effectively. And this is a way to analyze approaches and techniques that can be used to create productive and enjoyable meetings. Everyone likes a meeting that is not only productive, but engaging and enjoyable. And then there's the helpful tip sheets that's available in the Spanish version. Now I'm going to turn this over to Karen MUNRO.
Okay, so starting to wrap things up, I have some next steps for everybody. The first step is to check in on your ALA Connect profile and make sure that it's up to date. If you have a picture of yourself that you like, it's great to upload that. It helps build community online for the association. Also, really encourage you now to start reaching out to your committee, welcoming the new members and introducing yourself. This is also a very good time to reach out to the outgoing chair of that committee and familiarize yourself with the work of the group if you aren't already very familiar with it. And as part of that, you can read the work plan and the report from the last year's committee and start thinking about what you and your committee will want to focus on in the next year. I want to thank everybody for viewing this recorded presentation before our May virtual meeting. I hope that this has left you with some questions and comments, things that you might want more information about, and that you have some notes on that. I look forward to meeting with all of you in May and to answering any questions that you may have then. Last but not least, we really would love it if you would fill out the online evaluation form. We take your feedback very seriously. And if you will be in Washington, D.C. for annual conference, I hope we get the chance to cross paths there.